There are certain designer bags that you literally cannot escape. You open Instagram, there they are. You scroll through TikTok, there they are. You watch one luxury handbag video and then suddenly, the same 5 bags are following you everywhere. But some of the most beautiful bags on the market right now are barely being talked about. And honestly, I think that's part of their appeal. These are bags for someone who loves luxury, appreciate beautiful designs and craftsmanship, but don't necessarily want to carry exactly what everyone else is carrying. So today, I'm sharing 6 designer bags no one talks about, but absolutely should. Some are relatively under-the-radar brands, some come from major luxury houses, and one is even from Hermès. And I have a feeling a few of these are about to end up on your wish list. Let's start with number 6. Starting with one of my favorite categories of handbag. Quiet, minimalist, beautifully designed bags that don't need a giant logo to make an impact. The Esta Ekme sack is exactly that. If you're someone who loves the raw totem Kate or that entire minimalist Scandinavian aesthetic, Esta Ame is a brand you should know. The sack is incredibly simple, but that's exactly why it works. It has this elongated, most architectural silhouette that makes even a very basic outfit look intentional. Imagine wearing straight-leg trousers, a white t-shirt, an oversized blazer, and this bag, done. There's no excessive headwear, no obvious monogram, and no giant logo screaming at you. And I think we are increasingly seeing luxury consumers appreciate that kind of restraint. But what I especially like about this sack is that it's not minimalist at the expense of practicality. The brand describes it as a seasonless ultralight carry-all, and the design includes a middle compartment that can accommodate a laptop. So this could genuinely work as an elevated everyday or work bag. And aesthetically, it looks far more expensive than you might expect. This is the type of bag where somebody who really knows fashion might look at it and say, wait, what bag is that? And sometimes that's much more interesting than carrying something everybody immediately recognizes. Next, we have the Dragon Diffusion Center Crochet Tote. And this is one of those bags that perfectly captures effortless luxury. Dragon Diffusion has become more recognizable among fashion insiders, but compared with the major designer houses, it still feels relatively under the radar. The center crochet has that beautiful woven construction that immediately gives an outfit texture. And I think this bag works particularly well because it doesn't feel overly precious. You can imagine carrying it with linen trousers. In summer, you can wear it with jeans and loafers. You can take it traveling. You could style it with a long coat during autumn. It has this relaxed, almost lifting quality. And that is something I've been appreciating more and more in luxury bags. Not every expensive looking handbag needs to be perfectly structured. Sometimes the sheerest bag is the one that looks like you've owned it forever. The center crochet also gives you that woven leather look without automatically reaching for the most obvious woven bag from Bottega Veneta. It's understated. It's tactile. It's recognizable to people who know the brand, but not necessarily to everyone walking down the street. And for someone who's tired of seeing the same luxury totes everywhere, I think this is such a refreshing alternative. Okay, why are we not talking about this bag more? Because Bottega Veneta's the 1998 is gorgeous. We constantly hear about the Andiamo, the Jodi, the Sardine, the Hop, and all of those bags have had their moment. But the 1998 feels completely different. It's a framed top-handle bag, made in Bottega's signature Intrecciato technique, with soft nappa leather and a metallic clasp closure. And there's something wonderfully old school about it. It almost looks like a vintage handbag that you discovered in an incredibly glamorous woman's wardrobe. But then, you have the Intrecciato leather, which immediately gives it that Bottega identity. That's the genius of this bag. It feels nostalgic without looking dated. And we are seeing fashion move back toward more ladylike structured bags. After years of oversized slouchy totes, framed bags suddenly feel interesting again. Even the proportions are unusual. The bag is wider than you might expect from a traditional top handle, giving it a slightly exaggerated modern silhouette. And this is exactly the kind of Bottega bag I would buy if I wanted something from the house that wasn't already everywhere. It's recognizable, but not obvious, luxurious, but not loud, and very, very chic. Number 3 is for my fashion girls who love discovering a bag before everybody else does. The refined Eclair bag. This bag has that wonderful combination of vintage inspiration and modern minimalism. The silhouette is sleek, compact, and elongated. And there's something about it that instantly makes an outfit feel more polished. It gives me that effortless 90s energy, without looking like it's trying too hard to recreate the 90s. And this is where contemporary brands can sometimes be more exciting than giant luxury houses. They can experiment, they can give us interesting silhouettes. And because you haven't seen the bag thousands of times, it still feels fresh. The Eclair is the kind of bag I'll pair with a long black coat, sunglasses, kitten heels, and very minimal jewelry. Or even just jeans and a white shirt. Because the shape itself does the work. If your handbag collection already contains the classics, and you're looking for something that feels different without becoming gimmicky, this is exactly the kind of brand I would explore. It has personality, but it still feels wearable. And most importantly, it doesn't feel like you're buying something simply because the internet told you to. Now we're entering serious if you know luxury. The Métier Incognito. Métier is one of those brands that I think deserves dramatically more attention in the luxury handbag conversation because these bags are not just beautiful, they're incredibly considered. The Incognito looks like a very clean, sophisticated tote from the outside, but the details are where things get interesting. Métier says the Incognito name comes from its hidden magnetic pockets and discreet inside top zipper. The Incognito 36, for example, has interior and exterior pockets, a dedicated compartment that accommodates a 14-inch laptop, solid breast headwear, and a discreet zip closure. This is luxury designed around how someone actually lives. And I love that, because sometimes luxury bags are beautiful until you try to use them. Your phone doesn't fit, your laptop doesn't fit, there's nowhere sensible to put your keys, everything falls into one giant black hole. The Incognito feels like the opposite. It's elegant on the outside and incredibly functional on the inside. And aesthetically, it gives me that private club, beautiful hotel, cashmere coat kind of luxury. It's not begging for attention. There's no giant logo announcing how much you spent. The quality and design are supposed to speak for themselves. If you're considering a luxury work bag and you're bored of the usual suggestions, please put Métier on your radar, because this is one of those brands where I genuinely wondered, why aren't more people talking about this? And finally, number 1, this might sound strange. How can an Hermes bag possibly be something nobody talks about? But hear me out, because compared with the Birkin and Kelly, I think the Hermes Lindy is criminally overlooked. When people talk about buying Hermes, the conversation almost always becomes Birkin Kelly, maybe Constance. Meanwhile, the Lindy is sitting there being one of the most distinctive and genuinely practical designs from the house. The Lindy has handles positioned on the gussets, which allows the bag to fold and contour against the body. And it also has a shoulder strap for another carrying option. Hermes says the design takes its name from the Lindy hop dance. And I think that's why this bag has so much personality. It doesn't feel stiff, it doesn't feel overly formal. It has movement, it has softness. It looks luxurious without feeling like you're carrying a museum piece. The Lindy 26, for example, can be carried by hand or over the shoulder, while the mini Lindy can also be worn crossbody, thanks to its longer strap. And honestly, that versatility makes the Lindy incredibly appealing as an actual everyday Hermes bag. The Birkin is iconic. The Kelly is iconic. I'm never going to argue with that. But if I wanted an Hermes bag that feels a little less predictable, I'll seriously consider the Lindy. Especially in a beautiful neutral like gold, taupe, noir, or something unexpected in one of Hermes' incredible colors. It's still unmistakably Hermes, but it feels more relaxed, more playful, and perhaps even more personal. And that's exactly why it's number 1 on this list. So these are my 6 designer bags nobody talks about, but absolutely should. The Esta Ame sack, the Dragon Diffusion Center Crochet, Bottega Veneta the 1998, the Verified Eclair, Métier Incognito, and finally the Hermes Lindy. And I think there's a bigger conversation here. Sometimes the best luxury purchase isn't the bag everyone is currently obsessing over. It's the bag that fits your personal style so perfectly that you would still want to carry it, even if nobody recognized the logo. Because ultimately that's what personal style should be. Not wearing whatever everybody else tells you is desirable, but finding those pieces that make you stop and think, this is so me. Now I want to know, which one would you choose? If you could have one bag from this entire list, which one are you taking? For me, this is a very dangerous list because there are several I would happily add to my collection. Let me know your favorite in the comments. And if you love discovering underrated luxury bags, emerging brands and designer pieces that are actually worth knowing about, make sure you subscribe. Thank you so much for watching and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!